you ever wondered if mermaids truly roam our oceans? These jaw-dropping videos will make you question what lies beneath the surface. Join us as we explore these incredible encounters and uncover the secrets of the deep. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have the Minnesota mermaid. Imagine this. A tranquil day by a Minnesota lakeside takes a wild turn when an Australian tourist captures something extraordinary on camera. Men dressed in bright yellow hazmat suits rush to the shore, carefully handling a mysterious figure with a shimmering green tail. The sunlight dances off the scales as they lift it from the water's edge, the tail flicking ever so slightly. Could this be one of the most convincing mermaid sightings ever caught on tape? The contrast of the hazmat suits against the natural backdrop only deepens the mystery. What could possibly require such caution and such secrecy? As the footage spreads, it leaves everyone buzzing with excitement and questions. Have we finally caught a real glimpse of the legendary creatures that have captivated our imaginations for centuries? In our number 9 spot today, we have the mermaid on a rock. Soaring above the shimmering Mediterranean waters of Israel, an aerial camera captures a moment that has mermaid enthusiasts buzzing worldwide. Amidst the rolling ocean waves, a solitary rock stands defiantly, and there, defying all expectations, a graceful mermaid makes her appearance. With her iridescent green tail glistening under the sun, she scuttles confidently across the rocky surface before plunging back into the depths with a splash that ripples through the water. The video, though very brief, is astonishingly clear, making it one of the most convincing mermaid sightings ever caught on tape. Could this enchanting creature be a real inhabitant of our oceans, or is it just an elaborate hoax fueled by our love for mythical legends? As the footage began to circulate online, it ignited debates and it fueled the imagination, leaving us all wondering if the age-old tales of mermaids might just hold a hint of truth after all. In our number 8 spot today, we have the swimming with dolphins. Okay, this video is giving major aerial vibes, and it is exactly how I would like to picture a mermaid should they really be out there lurking in our oceans. In this mesmerizing footage, a stunning mermaid glides gracefully alongside a playful pod of dolphins, their sleek bodies moving in perfect harmony through the waves. At one thrilling moment, they all leap out of the water together, silhouetted against the horizon, making it hard to believe what your eyes are seeing. Filmed by an avid marine enthusiast, this video blurs the line between myth and reality, sparking debates. Could these enchanting creatures really coexist with our beloved marine mammals, or is this just an elaborate illusion crafted to revive ancient sea legends? As the video continues to circulate online, it definitely leaves us all wondering. In our number 7 spot today, we have GoPro on a shark. GoPro on a shark. Those are a few words I never thought I'd be putting together into a sentence, but it happened and it caught something insane. This video shows some fishermen, of course, putting a GoPro onto a shark and then releasing the shark to see what it captures. This is, I mean, a crazy but super interesting idea, but I'm sure no one expected what it was going to catch. The video is a bit murky considering this really is just a shark POV video, but this murkiness is exactly what makes every movement feel mysterious and unpredictable. As the camera starts recording, something extraordinary happens. Amidst the shadows and swirling currents, faint, graceful figures begin to move alongside the shark. These silhouettes resemble the legendary mermaids we've all heard about, elegant tails flickering and flowing as they navigate the underwater world with ease. This brief but captivating footage has quickly become one of the most convincing mermaid sightings ever caught. Could these enchanting beings really share the depths with these powerful sharks, or is it just a trick of the light and water? In our number 6 spot today, we have the shipwreck. Imagine plunging into the shadowy depths of a sunken ship where every creak and ripple tells a story of forgotten voyages. In this convincing footage, an intrepid explorer documents their underwater adventure with a steady hand. As they navigate the eerie shipwreck, schools of fish scatter through the murky water, and suddenly, one fish appears to be struck by a spear. Just when you think the suspense can't build anymore, a flash of movement catches the camera's eye. A swift, half half-humanoid creature darts through the wreckage, snatching the fish with lightning speed before disappearing into the darkness. This fleeting glimpse of what some describe as a marine alien species blurs the line between legend and reality, leaving viewers mesmerized and questioning what truly lies beneath the waves. Could this mysterious being be living proof that mermaids or other mysterious sea creatures are in fact real? In our number 5 spot today, we have the mermaid POV. Okay, we've already had a shark POV on this list today, but now we've got a video from the POV of an actual mermaid. I guess this video is like what would happen if mermaids could go live. Imagine diving into the deep blue from the very eyes of a mermaid herself. This video immerses you into an underwater world like no other. The footage starts with an intimate close-up of delicate neck gills, subtly moving as the mermaid breathes beneath the surface. Her graceful hands glide through the water, fingers trailing along vibrant coral and swaying seaweed, showcasing an elegance that feels almost otherworldly. As she navigates through the ocean currents, the camera captures her seamless movements, blending effortlessly with the surrounding marine life. Every moment is filled with wonder, making you question whether these enchanting beings truly exist or if it's all just an elaborate illusion crafted by nature's magic. Could this POV footage be the real proof that we've been searching for? In our number 4 spot today, we have the Zimbabwe mermaid. Imagine strolling along the tranquil waters beneath a bridge in Zimbabwe when suddenly something extraordinary catches your eye. In this video, the camera swiftly zooms in to reveal a mesmerizing mermaid-like creature perched gracefully on a rocky shore. Her shimmering tail flicks in the sunlight as she moves from one rock to another, showcasing a blend of creepy movements and a ton of mystery. In the background, another figure can be seen moving by the pillars of the bridge, making this a rare time when possibly 2 mermaids were caught on tape at the same time. As the mermaid swings her tail and hops onto different rocks, her movements are so unhuman-like that it leaves a creepy feeling behind. Just as quickly as she appears, she slips behind the bridge, leaving viewers wondering if they've witnessed a true legend or an elaborate illusion. Could this enchanting creature truly inhabit the waters of Zimbabwe, or is it a stunning glimpse into the mythical world we've always dreamed of? In our number 3 spot today, we have the Siren Call. This video was posted to TikTok by the user Megpie7, and it shows the call of a siren being heard. The video starts off with Meg just casually fishing off the dock in the night. Meg probably thought she was gonna have a nice, calm evening. Little did she know she was about to make quite the catch. The concept of the siren call has its roots deep in ancient Greek mythology, where sirens were depicted as enchanting yet perilous creatures. Originally portrayed as part bird and part woman, sirens inhabited remote islands and were famous for their mesmerizing songs. These alluring melodies were so captivating that they would lure sailors off course, causing them to crash their ships onto rocky shores. One of the most famous tales involving sirens is found in Homer's Odyssey, where the hero Odysseus orders his crew to plug their ears with beeswax and have himself tied to the mast to safely navigate past the siren's irresistible song. Over time, the image of sirens has evolved, often blending with mermaid folklore to become more human-like, featuring beautiful women with fishtails. This is all to say that what this video captures is pretty insane and might really be something that is the stuff of legends. In our number 2 spot today, we have the real mermaid. I'll be honest, this video doesn't really have me totally convinced, but I couldn't leave it out of this list today. This video was posted to YouTube and it just features some guys hanging out at what looks like some kind of freshwater river. They start off the video by saying that they are on a mermaid hunt and that this specific body of water always draws them in. Maybe it's the siren call that they're unknowingly hearing. Before long, they turn the camera toward the water and one of the men points out what we are all waiting to see. Just beneath the surface of the water, you can see the silhouette of a mermaid as she glides on by. The men quickly make quips about how it's strange to see such a creature in a freshwater setting as opposed to the usual salt water we would expect, but to be honest, does it really matter when we're talking about a fictional creature? Probably not, but I can definitely appreciate the attention to detail. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Australian Barrier Reef. Imagine diving into the vibrant, kaleidoscopic waters of the Great Barrier barrier reef where every coral formation bursts with color and life. As schools of tropical fish weave through the swaying sea anemones, a graceful figure glides into view, a stunning mermaid with a shimmering tail that mirrors the reef's brilliant hues. Her movements are fluid and mesmerizing, seamlessly blending with the surrounding marine life as she swims gracefully past intricate coral structures. The video, captured by an awe-inspired snorkeler, perfectly balances the natural beauty of the reef with the mysterious allure of this mythical creature. Could this be real proof that mermaids share these pristine waters with us, or is it just a trick of light and perspective? As the footage spread across social media, it sparked debate, keeping the legend of mermaids alive and more captivating than ever. Whether a genuine glimpse into a hidden world or a stunning piece of underwater artistry, this video continues to inspire our dreams of what lies beneath the surface.
Did you catch that? Here it is zoomed in and slowed down. So this footage comes from a man named Todd Standing. He's pretty well known in the Bigfoot enthusiast community. He's filmed a few pretty famous alleged pieces of Sasquatch footage, including this one here, which according to him was his first close-up sighting with one of the creatures. After the creature left, Todd and some of his crew apparently made their way up the cliff to try and determine how big this thing really was, and to them it looked like the thing may have been well over 8 feet tall. This footage was famous enough to show up on an episode of Finding Bigfoot, where they tried to recreate the footage by having one of the bigger guys on the team stand on the same ledge so they could try and get a sense of the creature's size in the video, and what they found was that the thing in the video was noticeably taller and bulkier. But ultimately, they couldn't definitively say whether Todd Standing's video was genuine or a hoax. This next video comes from Dee's Dark Adventures on YouTube. Seems she had a run-in with someone or something lurking in the trees while on a hike one night in Ohio. It starts when she sees a pair of eyes glaring at her from the shadows. She gets rightfully spooked and decides to make her way out of the forest, but whatever was watching her follows her. She makes it into a clearing and spots the thing again staring at her from the tree line. See how high up the eyes go when it stands up? At this point, she's in full panic mode and screams for whatever it is to just stop, but then it comes out from the trees and she can't tell if what she's looking at is a human or an animal of some kind. Creepy video. I like how she sounds genuinely terrified and panicked. And because it's Ohio, gotta wonder if that is the Ohio Grassman. Kind of their version of Bigfoot. Watch our Ohio videos to learn more about that. This is a really cool video. I mean, that thing looks terrifying. So this footage was taken on a stationary camera. I don't think anyone's standing there filming this. At least that's what we're led to believe here. I guess the idea is this was taken on a game camera or something, but clearly we see this big hairy man beast crouching in the bush. And when it stands up, it starts slamming logs and branches around. I don't know about you, but this is how I actually picture Bigfoot looking. It has this almost human face, but of course covered in this mane of unkempt fur. It's a creepy video, and we get a look at the thing for a good long time too. And not that it would be impossible for a regular person to lift a dead tree like that and slam it into the ground, but if this is a hoax, the person in the suit is pretty strong, so this is an impressive hoax, if it is one. I don't know. This footage was taken in southern Ontario, Canada by YouTuber Timber Giant Bigfoot. It's become a pretty well-known piece of video, sometimes referred to as the Big Red footage. This guy had his camera on the creature for a good stretch of time. This isn't just some blurry figure walking through the woods from like a mile away. Now, whatever the thing is, it looks big and hairy. Also doesn't really appear to be a bear. There really only are black bears in this part of the country, and this thing does not look like a black bear. Anyway, he has a bit of a hard time keeping his camera on the thing because he's zooming in from a fair distance. I wouldn't want to get too close either. He films for a good few minutes before the big creature gets up and walks off. What you're looking at here is footage taken by cryptozoologist Paul Freeman. Paul Freeman is still regarded as one of the most important investigators in the Bigfoot community. This video was captured in the Blue Mountains of Northeast Oregon in 1994, and it's often referred to as one of the best pieces of Sasquatch video evidence. Aside from this video, Paul Freeman was also well known for his plaster casts he made out of supposed Bigfoot tracks. The casts were studied quite a bit because they showed dermal ridges, and anthropologists like Jeff Meldrum of Idaho State University University considered the casts highly credible pieces of possible evidence and put a lot of time and effort into studying them. As for this video, is it genuine, a hoax? It could go either way, but I like that we get a pretty good look at the creature here, enough to see a bit of a face rather than just a dark blur somewhere off in the distance. Well, we can't really call this thing Bigfoot, Littlefoot maybe, Sasquatch Jr. This footage was posted by a woman named Stephanie Wood to the Bigfoot Believers Facebook group. In her post, Stephanie shared this blurry image of what she claims could be a baby Sasquatch, or a squatchlet, a term sometimes used to describe smaller, more elusive Bigfoot-like creatures. Along with the original photo, she posted a cropped close-up of the figure, saying that while the first instinct might be to dismiss it as a person in a costume, after closer inspection, she's just not sure. She wrote, "Could this be a baby Sasquatch, or one of those hairy little people that pop up in reports every now and then?" Now, what I'd like to ask is, sorry, who are these little hairy people that pop up in reports every now and again? My brain needs to learn more about this. Anyway, some commenters are convinced by the photo, with one person claiming that the deer in the foreground really makes it more believable, and I gotta say, I didn't think of this at first, but I think I agree. It's not easy to get that close to a deer. They'll usually just have run off long before you get a chance to get this distance from it, let alone pose for a photo like this, but maybe deer are more comfortable with young Sasquatches. So I remember this one really creeping me out when I first saw it over a decade ago. The story here is that this video was taken in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, where residents had apparently been reporting strange sightings and eerie noises at night, with some even spotting a creature resembling Bigfoot. But this creature was different. It was described as being white in color, more like a Yeti. One local homeowner managed to capture this video of the creature after hearing a disturbance in their backyard, which is surrounded by dense woods. Now, some people are kind of thrown by the cameraman's reaction here. He sees this furry white monster dashing through the trees at night, and his reaction is a pretty casual sounding, "What was that?" Well, some commenters disagree, saying the subdued reaction actually sounds pretty convincing. One commenter wrote, "As far as the reaction of the photographer, 'What was that?' it's not too hard to understand. When looking out in the darkness, things are not as easily recognizable. Also, he does not have the luxury of viewing the creature on YouTube in slow motion, and the mind barely has time to make a judgment of what it is." But what are your judgments on this one? Let us know down below. This video was taken in Algonquin Park, Ontario, Canada in 2010 with a bumper mounted GoPro. Zooming in and slowing things down, you can clearly see a large dark figure standing by the side of the road. Now, the video was taken by an unnamed man who sent it to the Ontario Wildlife Research Bigfoot group, who released it. One interesting point that a YouTuber named Snowwalker Prime made, who analyzed and reposted this footage, is that walking around in a gorilla suit in this neck of the woods really is ill-advised. You could easily get mistaken for a bear and get taken out by a hunter. So if this is a hoax, it's a kind of dangerous one. What I also like about this footage is that the original video was over an hour long. The guy filming apparently took lots of videos of his drives through the area. This was just one small piece edited down, and it just makes the footage a little more convincing. Plus, the figure does not look human. If that is a suit, it's a really good one. It's got those long arms, it's big, it's a good one. This video was taken in Alaska, posted to the YouTube channel Patua76, who wrote in the description, "I was on a logging road in Ketchikan hiking with my friend when I saw it. Boy, did my heart start racing. I was about 40 yards from the road, not sure if it knew I was there or not because of the noise flowing from water from the stream. It seemed to travel fast. It made my hair stand up. At one point you can see a whitish yellowish thing in its hand. You could see it jump, and after that point it just seems to disappear. There was a lot of brush and trees between it and I. I could not tell where it had gone. It was a scary, sort of exciting feeling at the same time. We went to search for tracks, but the riverbed where we thought it was walking was full of perfect skipping rocks. We found no prints." Now, after filming the creature walking behind a tree, the cameraman loses sight of it, and after scanning the trees for a bit, he decides to get out of there. And yeah, the last thing you'd want is to see a Bigfoot and then not know where it is around you. That's a scary idea. So I don't have a lot of info on this last one, only that it was captured by a group of hikers in Colorado. Take a look at this. All right, so a pretty hectic video, right? The camera is shaky as hell. We only get a quick glimpse of the creature before it runs into the brush, but all the same, the thing does look massive. And let's be honest, if you found yourself in this situation, would you really be holding the camera perfectly steady and getting like Stanley Kubrick level steady shots of the thing? Yeah, probably not.
I'm not gonna lie, this is impressive, fake or not. The everyday person is not able to lift a 30 to 50 pound pine tree like that and swing it over its head, unless someone was purposely training in the gym like that with a barbell, which is roughly the same weight. But this thing picks it up like it's a baseball bat, swings it up and brings it down hard on another stack of branches. I was watching this video and was feeling a little anxious myself. When it looks at the camera, that's where it kind of loses me, because it looks a little too human-like, but has one of the most intense stares I've ever seen, as it locks eyes with us down the barrel of the camera. I couldn't tell you why he's ripping up the forest like this. You know, maybe he's building a little nest to attract some pretty female Bigfoot tests. Even at the end, this guy's height is quite huge, and he's standing next to pine trees. I'm not good at measuring by eye, so I'm gonna leave y'all to figure that one out. Overall, very entertaining video, despite it possibly being fake, because I was impressed by the raw strength. Ain't nothing like the comfort of driving in the middle of the night on a road that's covered in snow, making it even more difficult to even attempt at trying to drive away if something came after you. Thankfully, nothing does for these guys, who apparently spotted a Yeti, which is a part of the same family as a Bigfoot, fun fact, in Russia. This was all caught on camera with their dash cam, and on their drive, spotted, at least what it appears to me, a man ran and jumped over a snowbank, crossed the road, and into the darkness whence it came. This one doesn't appear as tall as the one in the first video, and it looks to be around my height. Maybe a younger Yeti? If my height is considered to be an average height of a baby Yeti, I'm going to scream. I think it's clear though that this wasn't CGI at least, because as they get closer to where they spotted the monster, we even get to see the footprints it left behind. At first, it looks like they didn't even realize the footprints were there until they stopped the car and reversed themselves to get a better look. Personally, that's an interesting little thing to have, because the majority of fake videos would either end at the sighting, but adding in such a natural human gesture like that of taking a double take of the footprints just seemed really intriguing to me. It just feels right to include more of the Yeti Bigfoot in these videos due to it being December and around Christmas time. The clip is pretty straightforward. We see what appears to be a white speck make its way across the side of a cliff at a pretty decent speed, and not the usual tempo that people struggle with while their feet are being absolutely vacuumed by the frozen water beneath them. The creators of this video also included some interesting footage of the supposed footprints around the area where it was seen. But this is where it loses me, because when they zoom in on the prints, sure, they look pretty cool at first, but footprints don't usually appear like they're walking on a tightrope. You gotta stagger them, not make them completely straight. I will give you props though, because I'm finding it difficult to how you would have managed to pull it off without leaving any prints yourself. Drone mayhaps? Another beefy boy, but this time he's got some red coloring unlike the usual black majority of us are used to. This video was uploaded to the channel Sasquatch Confessions, so I think the original filmer was left anonymous. From how I'm seeing it, the guy filming happened to find the Sasquatch on a trail path and had originally mistaken it for a bear, until it got up and walked away. It seemed to know he was there. I mean, yeah, you're in an open area and you're pointing a camera directly at him, I would notice you too. And then this alleged beast gets up to leave. He is quite the size. Tall? Not so much, but wide? Oh yes, he's got that moto build. Dare I say, he also looks mighty cuddly too. He looks like he's in his bulking phase for hibernation, and I can only imagine the hug I could give this thing. As for convincing me, I'm not sure, because he kind of walks away like he's a giant puppet. No arm swing, no stretching of muscles as he moves. The uploader of this video has the YouTube channel named Gulf Island Rock and titled this finding as Bigfoot Sasquatch sighting near Port Renfrew on Vancouver Island. All that's really given to us is the view of this guy's hairy gray back. Points for giving us another new color to see. Really refreshes the brain after a while of just seeing a sea of black fur. I was really waiting on something exciting for a video that was almost 2.5 minutes long. I was almost hoping the beast would turn around, see the camera guy, and just start chasing him. Something to keep the viewers engaged, you know? If it's fake, the costume design is pretty well done. It doesn't look like those cheap Party City animal outfits where you can see the plastic shine under the light. I give it a good 4 out of 5 on the cosplay aspect, but a 2 out of 10 for intriguing footage. No offense. I'm not the one to judge Bigfoot and what he consumes, but drinking water out of the swamp? You must have a gut of steel to be able to stomach that. All its dangerous organisms and probably leeches that live in there? It seems like this person was on a canoe or something trying to get this shot, because why would you dare walk bare in it? And manage to catch an alleged Bigfoot taking a sip of the yummy swamp water, and then ends up getting a little too silly and starts splashing around in the water. He's just a silly little creepy guy. If this is also some wild animal though, the person who filmed this should be considered lucky that it didn't start charging its way over. This one also seems much smaller than the other Bigfoots we've seen, because I'm always expecting a guy who's at least 10 feet with their feet bigger than my head. This is more like a medium foot from my scientific perspective. What is the sudden wave of these baby foots? We want to see big boys towering over us, whacking pine trees around like the first video. I want to be so scared that I never want to step foot into the woods again. Speaking of, these guys seem to have stumbled upon an itty bitty Sasquatch on a hike somewhere in the Provo Canyon. It doesn't seem to notice them until closer to the end of the video, where the alleged creature stands up and terrifies our crew of hikers. Yes, shaking running camera footage never fails to make the adrenaline rise. Works in every found footage horror movie. But come on guys, this thing doesn't even look that big. It doesn't even have the same muscle mass as the other monsters in this video. I'm not convinced, and I'm disappointed. Show me the big back boys. Here we go, some more big backs. But sadly, this clip is so short, I am unable to fully be immersed in this experience with the uploader. I will give props though that the atmosphere set up for this footage is perfect. We got the fog, we got the cloudy sky that's making it look darker, and we got the snow that reminds us about all the absolute decay that surrounds us. Perfect Yeti footage. This guy looks like a giant snowball because of his round shape and white fur. Another Bigfoot to add onto my list for cuddling. For once, I gotta say I wish this video was a bit more clear. You did a bit too much on the scuff for this one. I can't even make out what the creature is doing to even describe it to y'all. Is it bent over? Is it making snowballs to hurl at you? But I will say, get the heck out of the open area. You are leaving yourself too vulnerable for these things to come and grab you, which you thankfully seem to realize at the end when you freak out and run away. As you should. Our curiosity should only be nurtured for so long. Yippee! Another Bigfoot video out of the park. You guys are seemingly loving these if I'm being forced to make more of them. I also love just making fun and exploring them with you, even if they are just really big, sweaty men in costume.
In July of 1934 in Yingkou City in China, a large creature was reported to have swooped down from the sky, causing damage to several buildings before plummeting into the Langdong Sea. This became known as the Yingkou Falling Dragon Incident. It sounds incredibly far-fetched, but it's an interesting piece of historical news because there were a ton of witnesses, and just the fact that a story like this was covered in the paper is just fascinating. So supposedly, for over 40 days in that July of 34 in Yingkou City, the weather was bizarre with constant rainfall. Then on the night of July 28th, people saw something unbelievable in the sky. Witnesses described seeing a huge creature with 2 horns, sharp claws, and scales, just like how dragons are often painted in ancient Chinese art. And the next day, the Shangjing Times ran a headline that read, "Dragon causes disaster." According to the report, this dragon supposedly fell from the sky and crashed into the Langdong Sea and was so powerful that it overturned 3 fishing boats and damaged some harbor buildings, leading to 9 deaths. After causing all this chaos, the dragon supposedly disappeared into the sea. Now, you could look at this reference to a dragon in more of a metaphorical sense, that they were maybe describing the weather itself having this dragon-like level of ferocity and power, but this wasn't the last time this supposed dragon would be spoken of. Just a month later, on August 12th, the Shangjing Times ran another dragon-related story. But this time it was a bit different. Instead of a living dragon or the wrath of a great storm, this was about a set of very strange bones. On August 8th, a villager had noticed a terrible smell near the sea. He followed the smell and came across the remains of a large dead sea creature, and these remains are about 10 kilometers from where the supposed dragon from before had reportedly fallen. The body had been in the water so long that it was mostly decomposed and it smelt awful. Authorities quickly brought the bones to a dock for everyone to see. The bones were huge, about 10 meters long with 28 vertebrae. The dragon's head even had horns that were around 1 meter long, and accompanying the story in the paper was this image right here. Once again in China, we have the Kunlun Mountain incident. So in 2006, a strange story started to spread about a tourist who vanished under very mysterious circumstances. The story goes that this tourist was exploring the Kunlun Mountains when they ventured off the beaten path and disappeared. After a search, the local authorities found some unsettling evidence. They discovered large, unusual tracks and a strange, disturbing smell in the area where the person went missing. Some locals started suggesting that a dragon might have been involved. The Kunlun Mountains are very important to the cultural history of China, often referred to as the Mountain of 10,000 Ancestors, the forefather of mountains, and in ancient times, the ancestor of dragon veins. There are tons of myths and legends surrounding these mountains, which make up one of the longest mountain chains in all of Asia. So with all the stories surrounding the Kunlun Mountains, it makes sense that sensational rumors would spread when people go missing or are found dead in the area. But is there any truth to this dragon thing? Is information about the presence of a real dragon being kept secret and fear that it would negatively affect tourism? Probably not, but that's not to say strange things haven't happened in this desolate mountain range. The Iowa Dragons. When I first read that, I thought it was some local sports team, but no, apparently Iowa may not be safe from actual mythological dragons, or at least some sort of creature that looks a lot like one. Over the years, locals across Iowa have shared some bizarre encounters with strange winged creatures. The earliest report goes back to 1887. The Bedford Times Independent covered a story about a man named Lee Corder who saw a flying serpent in his cornfield. Corder described it as writhing and twisting with protruding eyes and a forked tongue. He also said that great scales which glistened in the sunlight covered its huge body, which appeared to be flat and nearly a foot in width. According to him, the creature flew and landed with a loud thud before taking off again. Then in October of 1890, in Independence, Iowa, several people reported seeing a creature with wings, a monstrous head with horns, and a mouth like an alligator's. In more recent years, in 2005, a witness simply going by Megan to the press reported seeing a dragon-like creature while driving through Burlington at night. She described it as a 10-foot-long snake-like creature with bat-like wings and a head similar to a seahorse. An Iowa resident going by the name Zeus commented online saying, "I live in Iowa too, in Grand Mound. We see dragons like that all the time. They normally come in the harvest time when the moon is really big and red. They often take cows from my neighbor's pasture. I myself have spotted these dragons 6 different times, one in a group of 3. Stories of the White River Monster, aka Whitey, date back to 1915 in the small town of Newport in Arkansas. Locals have reported seeing a massive creature in the White River, and the descriptions are pretty wild. Some say it looks like a giant, scaly serpent, dragon-like beast. Others have described it looking more like a giant piranha. Maybe there's more than one creature. The first sighting was on July 1st of 1915. A plantation owner spotted something in the river, describing it as having gray skin and being, quote, as wide as a car and 3 cars long. The next big sighting happened in 1937 when another plantation owner Brownlet Bateman reported spotting a creature that had elephant-like skin and was, quote, 4 or 5 feet wide by 12 feet long, with the face of a catfish lolling on the surface of the water. When news of the creature hit, people from all over began flocking to the area, and there were about 100 recorded reports at the time. Over the years, there have been numerous reports of people seeing this creature, especially when the water is calm and clear. Some witnesses have claimed that the monster has a spiked back and a long, writhing tail. There were also reports of it making a loud, bellowing noise. Whitey sightings have become a big part of local folklore there, but the last major sighting was way back in 1971. There have been tons of reports of dinosaurs being spotted in the Amazon basin, and no, I'm not just talking about fossils, I'm talking about living dinosaurs. Stories about these creatures date back to the late 19th century, from parts of Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, and Peru. And the term neo-dinosaur refers to a variety of cryptids reported in the Amazon basin that some people think could be surviving dinosaurs or some undiscovered species of reptile. These reports are pretty diverse, but they share a common theme. They're described as massive reptilian creatures that look a lot like prehistoric animals. One of the most frequently mentioned types of neo-dinosaur is a long-necked amphibious animal similar to a sauropod dinosaur, like a brontosaurus. These creatures are often described as having enormous snake-like necks and large, bulky bodies. Another common report is an iguanodon-like creature, which have more upright postures and are smaller but still impressive in size. There are even rarer reports of bipedal reptiles that resemble allosaurs, large predators with strong limbs and big teeth. One early account came from Bolivia in 1883. According to a report published in Scientific American, a large, bizarre creature was supposedly killed on the Rio Beni. It was described as being about 12 meters long with a flattened tail. The creature had a kind of armored skin and short legs ending in claws. This story included detailed descriptions and even claims of preserved remains, but the evidence never turned up, so this very well could have been a hoax. But in 1921, there was a report from Colombia's Magdalena River. An iguanodon-like dinosaur was supposedly seen by locals. Swedish naturalist Ralph Blomberg shared a story about a Brazilian Indian named Alvaro Mesquita who encountered a camptosaur-like animal by a swampy lake. Mesquita missed a shot at the creature, which was green, bipedal, and had reportedly red eyes. It fled into the lake and disappeared. There's also a story from 1907. German explorer Franz Hermann Schmidt and his team reported seeing huge dinosaur-like tracks in Peru. They claimed to have spotted a massive, long-necked creature by a lake, describing it as having a tapir-like head, a snake-like neck, and a huge, thick body. They fired at it, but the bullets seemed to have no effect. The creature eventually plunged into the lake and disappeared. Now, these are just a few of a long list of reported sightings, and these reports have sparked a lot of theories. Some believe these were just larger than average reptiles. Others think these stories were just hoaxes or exaggerations. But there's also a theory that at least some of these neo-dinosaur sightings could actually be surviving ancient relatives of prehistoric animals. Speaking of dinosaurs, there's also a story about one having roamed the Kasai Valley of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The story goes that in 1932, a Swedish hunter named John Johnson had set out to hunt elephants. Johnson and his servant were scouting through the swampy terrain when they spotted 2 elephants. But there was something odd. There were no other animals around. Where was the rest of the herd? And the elephants seemed uneasy. Then, suddenly from the underbrush, a massive creature sprang up. It was unlike anything Johnson had ever seen. He took a shot at it, hitting the creature once, and it quickly retreated. The two men began making their way back to camp, completely awestruck, but they didn't have much time to process what they'd seen because moments later they witnessed that same creature now attacking a rhinoceros in the nearby swamp they were crossing through, ripping one of the rhino's legs off with a single bite. According to Johnson, the creature was about 43 feet long with reddish skin and black stripes, and it had a long snout filled with sharp teeth. A year later, in 1933, a group of hunters set out to find this Kasai Rex, having read about it in the paper. They believed the thing was a giant crocodile and wanted to hunt and sell its skin. They ventured into the swamp where Johnson had his encounter, and they spotted a reddish tail sink into the water. The thought it was maybe an anaconda until the creature made a sudden aggressive move, sending waves of water at the group before the tail smacked one of the hunters, knocking him off his feet. The hunters started firing at a large mass, but only saw splashes of water as it submerged. Terrified and unable to get a clear shot, they eventually retreated. The Brosno dragon, aka Brosnia, from Russia. It's said to lurk in Lake Brosno. Stories of this lake monster date back to the 13th century, when it attacked an army of soldiers that had stopped to rest at the edge of the lake, rising from the water and devouring the men and their soldiers whole. Today, there are urban legends about the creature overturning boats and people going missing in the lake. A lot of skeptics think the creature might just be a giant beaver or a really big pike. Others think it could be groups of wild boars or elks crossing the lake, which might create strange ripples in the water. Another idea is that hydrogen sulfide bubbles up from the lake bottom, causing the water to bubble and create shapes that almost look like a dragon's head. Fishermen say Lake Brosno has a weird underwater structure with sea fish like herring and smelt living there, so some even think the dragon might just be huge skulls of smelt reflecting weirdly on the water.
Number 10. First sighting. One of the first reported Jersey Devil sightings was in 1812 when Joseph Bonaparte, Napoleon's older brother, claimed he saw the Jersey Devil while hunting in his Bordentown estate. Joseph purchased 800 acres at Bordentown, New Jersey, and built himself a mansion with a beautiful landscape grounds and plenty of parkland. Then one snowy afternoon, he was hunting alone in the woods near his house when he spotted some strange tracks on the ground. They looked like the tracks of a two-footed donkey. Joseph noted that one foot was slightly larger than the other, and the tracks ended abruptly as if the creature had flown away. He stared at the tracks for a long moment, trying to figure out what the strange animal might be, and at that moment he heard a strange hissing noise. Turning, he found himself face to face with a large winged creature with a horse-like head and bird-like legs. Astonished and frightened, he froze and stared at the beast, forgetting that he was carrying a rifle. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then the creature hissed at him, beat its wings, and flew away. When he reported the incident to a friend later that day, Joseph was told that he had met the famous Jersey Devil, who had haunted the Pine Barrens ever since he was born to Mother Leeds one dark and stormy night in 1735. He was impressed by the story of the Jersey Devil and kept a lookout for the creature whenever he went hunting. Number 9. Devil Craze of 1909. There was a time where it seemed like everyone was seeing the Jersey Devil. From January 16th through the 23rd, New Jersey newspaper published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over the state. Reports even spanned as far as Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Reports claimed that the creature attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights and a social club in Camden. Camden police reported to have fired on the creature, but it was unaffected. People were in a panic and schools all along the Delaware River Valley were shut down. The Philadelphia Zoo even offered a $10,000 reward for the creature. While some refused to go to work, vigilantes went out to hunt the devil, but then it disappeared and life went back to normal. Number 8. Cab driver. In 1927, a cab driver got a flat tire in the middle of the night in Salem City, New Jersey. Now, years before electric streetlights, the streets would have been extremely dark and the woods of the Pine Barrens were surrounding him. He got out of the car to change the tire, but then the terrifying creature emerged from the woods and tried to attack him, screeching and screaming. The driver got back in the car, but the Jersey Devil was pounding on the roof of the car as if it was trying to get inside. The taxi driver reported the incident to the police, claiming he saw the Jersey Devil, but nothing was done about it. Number 7. Crossed Green Tree Road. In southern New Jersey, Green Tree Road is a very long street that runs through several towns. A woman named Mary Ritzer Christensen was leaving the town of Blackwood and heading towards Glassboro when she spotted a creature crossing the street in her rear view mirror. The animal was roughly 25 feet away from the back of her car. It had the head of a horse and woolly haunches like a goat, but it stood upright like a man and had a set of leathery wings. While this area had a lot of woods surrounding it, Green Tree Road does not actually run through the Pine Barrens, but based on its description, it sounds exactly like what the Jersey Devil is supposed to look like. Now, for those who believe in the existence of the Jersey Devil, they think the creature was born in the Pine Barrens, but that it has the ability to fly to other parts of New Jersey. Now, Mary told everyone she knew about the creature she spotted that night, and this story ended up being published in Weird NJ magazine. Number 6. Screams of the Devil. Riding dirt bikes and ATVs is a popular hobby in New Jersey, especially around the Pine Barren. A group of young men from there were camping in the middle of the woods and riding their bikes through the dirt trails in the 1980s. One day, their bikes suddenly stalled out at the same time, and at that moment, they heard a scream coming from the distance that did not sound human and was unlike any creature they could identify. The men dropped their dirt bikes and began running away. However, nothing was chasing after them. Several men in the group were so scared they decided to go home as soon as their bikes were working again. A few of the men were brave enough to handle it, so they decided to stay behind. Unfortunately for them, they continued to hear the screaming and screeching for the rest of the night. The Pine Barrens is popular for people who ride motorcycles because the roads are long and straight and it's rare to see any police officers who will pull you over for speeding. Biker bars are located every so many miles, so the men stopped in one of the biker bars to get a drink on their way home. They told the bartender the story, and he matter-of-factly said that was the Jersey Devil and that those kind of sounds are heard all the time around there. All I can say is terrifying. Number 5. Mysterious animal deaths. The Wharton State Forest is smack dab in the middle of the Pine Barrens, and it contains the Bastow Village, which has been intact since the 1700s. In 1980, the chief forest ranger named Alan McFarland was called out to South Jersey Farm near the Wharton State Forest. The entire pack of the farmer's pigs were killed in the middle of the night. The back of each pig's head had been eaten as if something perched on their backs and ate their brains. Their backs were scratched, but whatever ended the lives of the pigs left the rest of the body alone and moved on to the next animal in the pack. Now, this type of attack is not the normal behavior for any of the local animals. In all of his years of experience, Chief McFarland had never seen anything like it. The sight was horrifying, to say the least. The mystery has never been solved, and locals believe that the only possible explanation to this case is that the Jersey Devil must have done it, and I honestly agree with them. Number 4. Forest Ranger Sighting. In 1993, a forest ranger named John Irwin was inspecting the Mesilla River, which runs through the New Jersey Pine Barrens. He was driving when he had to stop his car because there was a huge animal in the middle of the road. He described it as having thick black matted fur, but also had horns like the devil. It stood over 6 feet tall, and John and the Jersey Devil stared at each other for several minutes, and this happened years before people carried smartphones, so there'd be no way for John to capture any evidence either. He didn't move his car, afraid that it may try to attack him, and after the staring contest was over, the creature went back into the forest, and that was that. Assuming John was telling the truth, there are black bears in New Jersey, so it's possible that was a creature he saw. When they stand up, they can often be over 6 feet tall as well. However, as a forest ranger, he should be able to tell what a bear is, and there is no other creature that would possibly match this description. Number 3. Route 9 Sighting. Route 9 is one of the major roads that runs alongside the Pine Barrens, and people use it all the time to go down to the Jersey Shore. One of the many sightings included in the Weird NJ book was a story from someone going by the name Sunny Zed. He wrote that it was around 10 p.m. at night, and Sunny was driving through the town of Bayville. 2 cars driving ahead of him had suddenly slammed on their brakes when a disgusting creature emerged from the woods. He described it as being hairless, with strange short ears and hooved feet. He also said that it towered over the road, standing nearly 10 feet tall. He said that it looked like every classic drawing of the New Jersey Devil that he had always seen, and that it galloped at high speeds across the highway. Now, of course, many people told Sunny that it was just a deer, but he insists that he had seen plenty of deer driving at night before, and this was absolutely no animal he'd ever seen before. Number 2. The Legend of the Smithville Inn. Frank Capella, the owner of Smithville Inn, woman went outside one night to put the restaurant's trash into the cans behind the inn. She looked up and saw the shadow of a winged creature looming over her. Now she felt very calm, and instead of running away, she just continued to stare. For whatever reason, she felt that the Jersey Devil was actually guarding the Smithville Inn and protecting it like some kind of guardian angel, rather than trying to attack the patrons, which, aw, so sweet. Fran fully admits that she's a true believer in the Jersey Devil and that she had been thinking about the legend that same day before she saw the shadow. Fran swears it's true, and she even went on record in a documentary about the Jersey Devil. And coming in at number 1, recent sighting. In 2015, people claimed that they thought they saw the Jersey Devil along Route 9 in Egg Harbor Township near a golf course. The witness, David Black, thought there was a llama standing inside its fence along the roadway until it suddenly whipped out gigantic wings and started flying away. David Black grabbed his cell phone and tried to capture a video of this creature. The video clip is very short and shows what appears to be the Jersey Devil flying across the screen, a black silhouette against a colorful sunset. There is a still photo of the same creature that is also attributed to David Black, and it kinda looks like a horned goat with wings that was thrown like a football. However, the clip also went on the internet close to Halloween, which is why many people believe that David Black is trying to prank the internet. But he told NJ.com, "I swear it's not photoshopped or a staged thing. People have said it's fake, but it's not. I'm honestly just looking for an explanation for what I saw." First up, we have the Australia sighting. A video that was uploaded in 2010 has recently resurfaced that was taken at the Great Barrier Reef. The footage shows a mysterious creature, a mermaid, swimming in the distance. Now the video has more than 2.7 million views, and there's another video as well from the same person which has more than 4 million views. The narrator of the video explains how he went to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia to test an underwater cage that he had recently bought. 2 films were recorded, explains the narrator. He said he was testing out his camera and how to operate it, and he felt something behind him. He added that he only spotted the mermaid after he watched the footage on the computer. He never saw her in real life. Now he claims that the video is real, not edited, not faked. Some people are claiming it's just a human in a costume, but I don't know. It looks pretty real to me. Up next, we have the Canada sighting. In June 1967, a mermaid was spotted on Main Island. She was seen in the early evening by passengers on ferries close to the west entrance to Active Pass. The Daily Colonist reported the sightings and included a photograph. Several witnesses said the mermaid had a large fish, apparently coho salmon, and one swore she had taken a bite out of it, the Colonist said on June 13th, 1967. Long silver blonde hair and topless condition were generally agreed upon. Now the next day, the Colonist referred to her as the dimpled mermaid and said that she had the lower body of a fish or porpoise. The newspaper said she had been at Helen Point and had been seen eating a large salmon. A Cobble Hill man who flew over the area shortly after 7 p.m. managed to get an aerial photograph which reportedly corresponded closely to another photo taken. Then on June 15th, the newspaper reported that a $25,000 reward would be offered for the dimpled mermaid of Active Pass. The offer was made by Charles White of the Undersea Gardens, who added that a panel of competent marine biologists would have to confirm that the mermaid was the real thing. He also promised to negotiate a contract with the mermaid. "I think we could come to terms. We would offer a substantial salary, room and board, and a supply of those special combs that mermaids use," he said. Now unfortunately, no mermaid came forward, and the story kind of just disappeared. Moving on to the Jamaica sighting. Jamaica seems to be a hotspot for mermaid sightings. I mean, there are hundreds of them. From YouTube to TikTok to Reddit, people have been sharing their stories. Now, this particular video was taken at Flatbridge, where there have always been rumors of sightings. Now in the video, you can hear people saying it's a mermaid. "Watch, a mermaid, Jesus. Oh, she's gone," a woman says. Now Daniel Gale, who has been diving and fishing in the area for the last 10 years, says the river has a season when the mermaid wants blood, and that's when a series of accidents usually occur. Whenever the river changes its color and gets dirty like now, that's when it's dangerous, and that's usually when the mermaid is active, Daniel told the Star. It said that the only thing that will quiet the mermaid is blood, so as soon as it's satisfied, all accidents will cease. Now it seems like this mermaid is no Little Mermaid type and is more evil than people thought. Now we have have caught in a net. Fishermen are pretty brave. They sail in stormy weather, they've seen all different types of animals, nothing can really scare them. Well, that is unless they stumble upon a mermaid. In a viral video, it appears that some fishermen caught a mermaid in a net. Now, they didn't need to do this, they were just trying to see what fish they caught, and boom, a clearly humanoid arm with a webbed hand reached back at them from the net as if it was trying to grab the men. Now, the men leaned back to avoid it, and unfortunately the net slipped and fell back into the ocean. They then scrambled to lean over the side of the ship to see if they could catch another glimpse of the creature, but they couldn't, and whatever they saw got away, never to be seen again. Now let's talk about the Spain sightings. While it's rare to even see a mermaid, spotting a mermaid in the same place twice is even more rare. But it seems like Spain is the place for this to happen. Travelers on a cruise noticed a figure sitting on a distant rock deep within the ocean. Upon closer observation, it became clear that this figure was a mermaid, sunbathing and relaxing. They recorded the video in Morocco, Spain. Then this other video was taken by two friends who were surfing together. They were just recording each other and having fun, but it seems like they actually caught a mermaid on film too. You can see its tail coming out of the water and going back in. Now, as they both spot the creature in the water, you can tell that they're scared and they decide to leave, which was probably the best option because they would not want to get dragged underwater by that thing. Now, the most recent sighting is the 2023 sighting. In this extremely viral TikTok clip, seafarer who goes by the username @sauce.90 on social media, his real name being Ryan Coleman, filmed two mysterious figures swimming by his boat as it traveled through the choppy waves. Now, as he records, his voice can be heard saying, "What are those? What's going on?" Pointing the camera at the sea, he notes, "Something swimming fast underneath the water, something swimming real fast." Now, everyone in the comments believes it's mermaids that are keeping up with his ship. Now, a strange wailing can be heard in the background as he asks the camera, "What the F is that noise, bro? What is that noise?" Then, as he continues to remark that he can hear the strange intruders, a shrieking voice announces, "Jump for me." Now, just hearing it creeps me out. Just listen. Now how he was able to stay calm after hearing that is beyond me. Now onto the Israel sighting. In 2009, dozens of locals near Kiryat Yam, Israel claimed to see a mermaid off the shore at sunset. Now these sightings went on for some time before the local media got involved. The onlookers said the creature resembled a young girl and would often visit the beach and do tricks in the water. Eventually, the Israeli government noticed all the attention and issued a $1 million reward for anyone who could provide proof of the mermaid. Now, this didn't include capturing, it simply required an authentic photo. Now, no one ever came forward, but in 2013, the most compelling piece of evidence to date was a video shot by two tourists. Now, the pair thought they had spotted a seal on a rock just off the coast, but as the camera zoomed in, it became clear it wasn't a seal. It was a mermaid. Now, despite the evidence looking real, the prize money has not yet been handed out, but hey, that footage looks real to me. Give those people their money, it's only fair. Let's discuss the Zimbabwe sighting. Mermaids don't really like being around humans, and I can't say that I blame them. Now, this was made extremely clear in the case of the Zimbabwe dam workers in 2012, who were trying to install a water pump which was crucial to the local agriculture. Now, local divers and workers were hired to see what was blocking the pump, and when they surfaced, they vowed to never return. Why? Because there was a mermaid there. Sam Sipia Nkoma, a water resource minister, told the Senate committee that the village chiefs could perform an ancient ritual to get rid of the mermaid and calm the workers' anxiety, but they still refused to return after the ritual was performed. Now, being skeptical of the workers' reasons for quitting, the government hired outside help as they thought this belief was cultural, but the new workers reported the same thing and refused to finish the repairs. Now, to this day, the dam is still not finished. And hey, I wouldn't mess with a mermaid either. I think it's best that they left it alone. Next up, we have the Hawaii sighting. The island of Hawaii has plenty of folklore and legends around beautiful aquatic creatures, and the mermaid is one of them. For more than 50 years, people have reported seeing a mermaid off the coast of Hawaii's Big Island. But the sightings were never taken seriously until a dive boat captain finally
captured the half-woman, half-fish on camera. Dive master Jeff Liker photographed the creature known as the Kauai Point Mermaid on April 12, 1998, as he and 6 other divers were exploring the ocean bottom about 20 minutes off Hawaii's sunny Kona coast. As Jeff was photographing some underwater life, a mermaid brushed up against him while swimming and turned back around just in time for him to snap a few pictures. He said, "I feel very lucky that I'm the one to finally prove to the world what people here have known for half a century. The Kauai Point Mermaid is real." Now, this wasn't the only time he spotted the mermaid, as just a few hours before, he saw what looked like a nude woman swimming with a pod of dolphins. The woman was able to keep up the pace with the dolphins, which Jeff thought was odd. All of a sudden, she jumped into the air and he realized that she had the lower half of a fish. Now, 10 people on a boat witnessed this incident, but the mermaid disappeared after just 2 jumps out of the water. And lastly, we have the Minnesota sighting. A mysterious video claims to show the moment a mermaid was pulled from the water, prompting claims the mythical creatures do exist. The clip shows a green tail floating in the water and a figure being put onto a stretcher. The video was taken by an Australian tourist on a beach in Minnesota, but the precise location is unknown. According to Paranormal Elite, a YouTube channel which was sent the footage, the person who filmed it stayed behind after the beach was cleared. The man, identified only as Mackie, said large vehicles arrived with some people wearing yellow hazmat suits to protect them from dangerous materials. A Paranormal Elite spokesman said, "The creature seen bears striking resemblance to the mermaids depicted in fictional stories. There remains a mystery whether or not mermaids do inhabit lakes in Minnesota. After all, what happens when the lake freezes in the winter?" The enthusiast continued, "I urge everyone to keep an open mind and come to a conclusion yourself. If this is in fact fake, the question arises as to why anyone would go to such lengths to hoax a video like this. Now, I honestly don't know if this is real or not, it truly just stumps me."
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Come binge some more most amazing content by clicking this video next. We have found some footage of some mysterious creatures that have been locked away for centuries, and the clips are disturbing. Click the video now. What are you waiting for?